What's up, guys, and welcome back to another total weapon review of all the weapons that have been released so far, at least the top tier, tier 9. And today we're going to be focusing on Recon. Now, when I talk about Recon in some ways is probably the most confusing and overwhelming. Because yes, you have choice for support, you have choice for assault. Yesterday I mentioned 4 top tier assault rifles, the ASVAL SV, AN-94, AK-12H, and MK-16H, all which are, they're all really, really good weapons. Obviously I have my preferences. I told you what my preferences are. I like the AK-12 the most, and I like the MK-16, and so on and so forth. But the thing about comparing it with Assault to Recon is that with Assault, the weapons really feel different. I mean, all 4 assault rifles that I just mentioned, they really feel different from each other. I mean, the AK-12 does not feel like the MK-16H. It doesn't, and the MK-16H doesn't feel like the ASVAL, and the ASVAL and SV doesn't feel like the AN-94, and so on. When it comes to Recon, you have a whole bunch of SMGs that feel and kind of perform really similar to each other. So the distinctions are so slight and so minimal, it's hard to really make recommendations, but we can still do that. So, well, you can see right now I'm still grabbing my AK. I'm still very fond of the AKS-200R, and I've learned to even make it work on medium range maps. You know, I'm not engaging in long range firefights with assault rifles and LMGers usually, so I try to be sneaky with it. Most people don't have this gun, I know. I like it a lot. I still use it. If you do have it, then, you know, try to make the recoil work for you. It's really fun, especially with the headshots, but not everyone has that. It's not accessible. So let's talk about the massive amount of choices we have. Well, at this point in time, you have the OC-14 Watchdogs, you have the MP9HC, the MP7HC, the M960HSP, and the Vector. Wow, those are a lot of choices, I think. CPW used to be pretty competitive, but at this point in time, the DPS and the lack of armor penetration just is outclassed by the newer ones. So, yeah, what's going on with this? I can only, before I start with this, I can only tell you what my own personal preference is, as usual. I know not everyone's on board with me saying, you know, AK-12H is the best assault rifle. I didn't mean the best, it's the best for me. So, for me, there are still a bunch of choices and preferences. One thing I know a lot of people like using, it's not for me, but the OC-14 HSD Watchdogs, spread is horrible. The recoil is weird. I don't like this at all. Now, do a lot of people use it successfully? Yes. I'm not one of them. If you like this weapon and it works for you, go ahead and use it. It's not for me. So I will talk about weapons that do work for me. Okay, let's talk about something that I still use from time to time, and that is the M960 SP ACR. To date, the best M960 they've released, right? And it's a very good weapon. I mean, the strength of this weapon is the same, to a certain extent, the same strength as the AK-12 HSP for assault, right? I mean, you just have a massive ammo pool. There are times when you're flanking as a recon, of course. Recons are experts at flanking because they're speedy and fast. You're just going to run out of ammo with a 40 clip, and we'll talk about the Vector in a second. It doesn't happen here. I mean, 100 rounds, you don't have to worry about reloading, and even if you do, reloading is super fast, not like an LMG. It also has the famous and very nice, as you can see, extra crit bonus. I'm scoping in. Scope out, it's still at 6% because it has 5% extra crit bonus. Very useful. Those are the pros of this weapon. The cons are, it's not the most accurate weapon for a lot of reasons, and recoil-wise. It's got a slow rate of fire, and that Nobody's really figured out how that works, but when you have a slow rate of fire on a weapon, right, it tends to negatively affect how accurate and how controllable it is. I mean, the Vector, for example, and like I said, I'll get to that in a second, with 1,100 fire rate. Yeah, I mean, stats-wise, let's just compare the stats, say, between the M960H and the AC versus the Vector. And you can see, technically, the M960H SP, it's got more accuracy. It's a medium barrel, makes sense, and more control. It doesn't feel like it, though. Get to that in a second. So the disadvantage is kind of a combination of different things coming from one thing. Really, the lack of fire rate. If this had 100 more fire rate, it'd be pretty. First off, it would be insane. Probably be overpowered, but that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, yeah, the fire rate is. It feels like. I know not everyone's a native speaker of English, like molasses, like honey. It's so slow compared to some of the newer models that as much as I like the M960 I always have, it is not, it just doesn't have the feeling. It's probably my least recommended of the newest ones, even though, yeah, you don't run out of ammo, and it's still good. But the fire rate, it's one of the newest releases. It's still below 600. I think it's like 585, 590. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. But yeah, and like I said, the spread is kind of weird, and it jumps a lot, and it's good. I mean, it has that advantage, certainly maybe on a map like Tomsk, if you just want to keep on firing. But of the newest releases, like I said, I don't use the OC-14 Watchdogs. I hate that gun. So you like it, good for you. I do use this sometimes, but it's pretty rare. My least recommended SMG, personally. Let's move on to the ones I would recommend more. Coming after that, I would probably, the newest release, the PP2000H, Bodark, the stupid werewolf one. This one, yeah, this is a really good one. Once again, it is a little bit lacking in DPS, but it is very, very controllable. It has probably the least recoil of any of the newest, any of the new SMGs they've released. And it has the nice crit bonus. You can see 6%. It is an SP, but it doesn't, like I said, it's still got an 800 fire rate, which is better than the M960 fire rate. And yeah, I mean, like I said, 50, 60 meters, it is still super controllable. If you're someone who just hates dealing with recoil and you want a Recon Weapon, then this newest Bodark release, even standing up, it's pretty controllable at 60 meters. That says a lot for an SMG. I mean, SMGs are really not meant to be used at 60-meter engagements. And certainly at a short range like this, it's just very controllable. It's got pretty good DPS. I think I clocked it around 600. I don't remember. But yeah, and it's got the crit modifier. And yeah, it's a very nice SMG. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have quite the punch of the next two I'm going to mention that I probably would use. I would use more often than this, but this is a very, very good one. If you want an SMG with super good control, a decent clip size, we got 44, right? This is definitely a good choice. Would I recommend getting it? Yeah, I mean, if you're the kind of person who wants an SMG with a decent clip size, exceptionally good control, decent DPS, and the extra crit bonus, yeah, this is a good choice. So yeah, I would recommend this. Wouldn't recommend this as my top choice, but that's just me. And as I said, for one of the reasons being that I've learned to control things pretty well, and like I said, you're not really using SMGs at 60-meter engagements. So the fact that this is more controllable than others doesn't really help very much, because most of your SMG engagements are going to be at maybe 30, maybe 40 meters, and certainly less, a lot of CQC. So PP2000H, yeah, super controllable. Look at that, 45 control. There won't be any other SMG with that control level, I would argue. that they're going to release anytime soon. So you can call this the Control Monster SMG. But I don't, these two weapons here, the MP7H and the MP9H, these are, I think, for me, like, one's just my preference, but I do think they're the best SMGs that they've released to date. I'm not counting the AKS, obviously, that's a special edition or unique, whatever, and it's a hard choice. I use both of them equally, and I think, however, that I would probably give my not my preference, but I would probably say that ultimately it's better to go with the MP9, but so we'll do the MP7 first. This thing, oh, I didn't mention the Vector. I'm going to probably do that last, actually. Oh, not switching weapons. There we go. And I don't use the Vector, and I'll explain why. But this is kind of like the Vector, but it's a lot better. First off, having 40 rounds is a big difference from having 30 rounds. It feels really good. It's very controllable. It's got a very nice fire rate of 950, higher damage per bullet, 41. Vector has 36. And it has a bigger ammo reserve. You have a total of 200 rounds, which is really nice. I use this a lot. Is it my favorite? I don't know. I don't really have a favorite SMG, not like assault rifles, but I like this a lot. This is an awesome SMG. It's got a great fire rate, very good DPS. I think I clocked it in at 630 something, but yeah, it's you can. It's not quite as controllable as the PP2000, but the DPS is a lot better. The DPS is it might be 30 or even 40 higher, and that can count a lot in a CQC situation. As I said, it's not. This is probably not as good at 60 meters as the PP2000H, but who cares? How often do you use an SMG at 60 meters? This is a really, really nice one. Definitely a tough choice between this one and the MP9. However, if I had to say what's the best SMG now, in air quotes, this probably is the MP9H. I'll tell you why. Because the DPS isn't really that far behind. First off, it's got 2 more damage per bullet, so that's going to compensate. It's 890. It's somewhat more controllable, and it's got the 5% crit bonus. If you combine those features, more control, higher damage per bullet, only slightly less fire rate. Well, slightly, 60 less, but because you have the more damage per bullet, it kind of evens out. You're only losing a little bit in terms of DPS. You're gaining in the crit rate. You're gaining in control. You don't have the total ammo pool, that's true. But this probably would be my first choice. I use both, the MP9 and the MP7, but the MP9, I think, is probably the best choice available right now. It is, it's got really nice DPS. It's got the crit bonus, and it's got pretty nice damage per bullet. Good fire rate. It's just kind of a really nice all-around SMG. Highly recommend it. Can't really go wrong with this. Very, very nice SMG. I mean, they're all nice, but if I had to choose, and I only could use one, I would choose this one. The thing about the 5% bonus is, when you get the bonus when you are hip firing. I'm pretty good at hip firing at range as well, pretty accurate. I mean, you're not going to see it now because I use 20% anti-crit. I might make a video about how important anti-crit is, but yeah, this, probably my top recommendation. But before I finish the SMG review, the Vector. Yeah, I mean, the Vector is still a top-tier gun. I'm not going to deny that. But, for me, the Vector's lack of ammo and what have you, it's just annoying. I mean, I get Exis, I get issues with just shots not registering, and then I get lag spikes. If I have 30 shots per clip, the lag spikes are just deadly. Too many lag spikes, and I'm just dead. I can't afford to use a gun that has 30 rounds per clip. It's a great weapon, but it's got the highest DPS of any SMG. I think it's still at what, 660 something, 663, I think. But that said, if you're shooting Nexus, then that's going to be a problem. So yeah, this is still an amazing weapon. It's still really good, but you better hope you have a perfect internet connection and the servers are working perfectly fine when you're using this weapon, because that's just the way it is. 30 rounds a clip. Also, the other thing that has nothing to do with shooting Nexus is the same issue I talked about when it came to the M960 ACR and the assault rifle, the AK-12 ACR. I mean, if you're someone who gets annoyed that you run out of ammo after a 40-shot clip, you're going to get even more annoyed that you're running out of ammo after 30 rounds, for obvious reasons. Sorry. Impadil. Because, 30 rounds at 1,100 fire rate, that goes fast. I mean, you will not be able to take down multiple opponents if you have to reload like that. You're going to have to switch to the Judge, or something. And by the way, the Judge probably is the best. It's not even a pistol, but it's probably the best option there. So anyway, that's why I don't use the Vector. Great weapon, not for me. And but let's do a quick review then. OC14H SD Watchdogs, really good weapon. I hate it personally. I don't use it. Use it if you like it. Whatever. PP2000, super controllable. Weird magazine size, but good. Good weapon. But doesn't quite have the DPS of the other two models. The MP7, which is kind of a tie, but I probably would take the MP9 over the MP7. I use both. And then the Vector, if you're not bothered by the lack of ammunition and shooting Nexus, there's that too. And for, being more like Rambo with almost unlimited ammunition, the M960 is still a really nice choice. And of course, for those of you who have the AKS, if you can make it work, it's still a fabulous weapon. Really nice weapon. Very nice. Enjoy it a lot. So that would be it for the SMGs. Get ready for the P90H and the CBGH. They still have to release that stuff and what have you. Like I said, the CPW is still very good, still very controllable. It doesn't have quite the DPS that some of the newer releases have, or the armor penetration for that matter. So, it's got more rounds. That's nice, but I can't really recommend this anymore. Sniper rifles. I'm not sniping is my worst skill in this game, but there are a lot of choices too. It's hard to say. I mean, if you're going to go for a single bolt action sniper, I still think the choice is clear. I don't. I could say SRSH because whatever, just lots of people use it. Kylar uses it. But if you're going to go for a bolt-action sniper, I honestly don't think this is the best choice. It actually still is. Let me see if I can find it. It actually still is the KSVK SD Jungle. Because the thing about bolt-action, this is just my opinion, is you don't need... I mean, if it's bolt-action, you're going to have to reload, retract the bolt anyway, reload it basically. It's not reloading, but pull it back. So whether you do it a little bit faster or not is irrelevant. If you're in cover, you can't. If you're out of cover, you have to go back into cover to do it. So whether the SRS is faster or not is kind of irrelevant. The SRS also has less armor penetration. This is still the one shot, one kill choice, I think, available to snipers. And it'll kill still most things. So, there's that, especially if you put in Magnum. So as far as bolt action, single shot is concerned, yeah, this is still basically the king of the sniper rifles, even though it's tier 8, but it's just because it works better. 65% armor penetration. And yeah, that damage, that high damage, even after the nerf. I mean, they nerfed it, yeah. And some assault might survive a shot, but still, probably for bolt action, if that's your style, go for this. The problem arises actually when you talk about the semi-automatic. In the game speak, everyone calls it auto sniper. It's not really automatic, although there is an automatic sniper now. We talked about that in a bit. These are of course semi-automatic, and there's a lot more choice. I mean, these AS50, AS50 SD, whatever, more or less the same thing. This is, of course, a semi-automatic, but it doesn't have the fire rate of the others. It has much higher damage. However, that might not be relevant because the important thing about a semi-automatic sniper rifle, obviously, is that unlike a bolt action, you can stay out of cover and fire again and again and again. The SRS H, sorry, not the SRS. Yes, the SRS H. The KSVK, not the same thing. I mean, you have to, when you fire, you're going to be forced to go back into cover. I like this one a lot. I'm not much of a sniper, but yeah, this gives you a lot of options, and it's still got pretty good damage. You might be able to body shot if you're lucky, maybe a support even. Certainly headshots are deadly. Body shots at 139. Yeah, you could at 30 meters though, mind you. You might be able to body shot some support. Certainly recons are going to go down from it, but assault, yeah, you're not going to be able to kill assault like that. Other choices. 3 choices. I mean, they basically come down to a medium barrel semi-automatic, which would be this M14 SP. I think it's medium barrel. I'm going to double check. Yep. This has the fastest fire rate of the new semi-automatic, but also the lowest damage per shot. Very popular. I've been killed by it many times. And the fact is, there's not actually much difference between that and some of the others that I'm going to mention. So the one, let's see, this is the one I probably use the most at the moment, the SR25H. Because it's got a short barrel, lower settle time, higher damage per shot than the M14. I believe. Let me double check again. Slightly higher, but it makes a difference with snipers. 5 points higher. I don't also think you need the super fast fire rate of the M14H. But yeah, you can see pretty fast fire rate, pretty good damage. Body shot, yeah, you forget about body shots killing stuff unless it's a recon with a crit. But yeah, you get the headshots or 2 body shots, and it's still dead, so it's all good. And then finally, the newest release of the semi-automatics would be the, I didn't mention the SRH Watchdogs because it's the same thing. The SVD Black. Why is my weapon not changing? There we go. It's a long barrel version, so shitty settle time, higher damage though, obviously. I used to like the SVD the most of the old, before they released all these tier 9 ones. But yeah, it has the highest damage per bullet, lower fire rate than the others, and the worst settle time for obvious reasons. But at the end of the day, those three weapons, the M14H, the SR25H, and the SVD-H, they're really similar. What they do is they're just offering slight differences, small differences between fire rate, damage per bullet, and settle time, with the SR25 having the best settle time because it's a short barrel, and the long barreled SVD, I probably would recommend this the least. My personal preference of the semi-automatics is definitely the SR25, but you know, it's going to come down to your own preference. Still can't body shot anything with this, so yeah. But let's talk about the really interesting weapon. This is the newest one, and it's not a sniper rifle. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that this is. I mean, it's in the sniper rifle category. I need to find it, but it's not a sniper rifle. You guys know what I'm talking about. I am talking about the. There we go. I'm talking about the VSSH. Oh, I forgot to buy that camo for this. Yeah, this is not a sniper rifle. A lot of people have been running with a Reflex Scopus, so have I. I don't even know where to start with this thing. It's if you're a shitty sniper, this might be a good option for you because it's kind of a cross between a LMG and an assault rifle, but it doesn't feel like a sniper at all. It still has the sniper double headshot critical, so especially with Magnum, a headshot's going to kill anything. Assault at pretty much any range, even at 185. Okay, there's some assault with, you know, 190 health, but whatever. No, it's still going to kill most of them, and certainly in CQC. That said, for me at least, using a large scope, a magnifying scope like a PSO or a traditional sniper scope doesn't really work for me with this. And I think a lot of people who've used this weapon, they feel the same way. Because it just, first off, it has shitty control. I think the developers intentionally left out a bipod or grip. Look, you see this? It's moving a lot. I'm out of cover, it's true. But even in cover, it's still moving quite a bit. And I think they did that intentionally to make it, you know, not too powerful. They didn't want to make it too OP. But this, you know, if you want a run and gun with what technically is not a sniper rifle, but sort of is a sniper rifle, this is the choice. You know, if you can get the headshots, it's a beast. If you're not getting headshots, you're probably going to lose against fully automatic weapons that have much better fire rate. But I like using this. I've used it a couple of times. It's a fun weapon. I still, you know, if I had to run and gun, I'd still choose an SMG over this. But still, it's not a bad choice. It's a fun weapon. It's totally different from other snipers. And the thing is, too, at long ranges. Let me show you why. So long range, let's take a sniper 2.5. I mean, it's a sniper rifle. You can see it's not very stable. It's worse than the semi-automatics, and even at 60 meters. And then it just jumps around so much. I mean, using it at something even like 100 meters doesn't really seem to make sense. I mean, look at that. It's everywhere. I think a reflex scope of some sort, of some kind, is going to be the best choice. You could feather tap it, I guess, but yeah. So, you know, if you're going to buy this and use some sort of reflex, I guess most people would use an open reflex. So yeah, that seems like a good choice. But yeah, this is not a sniper rifle. It's more like an assault rifle, sort of. but it's fun to use, and I would definitely recommend it, just because it's so unique and different from all the other weapons. Okay, I think I've covered most important things with the SMGs and the sniper rifles, and next time I will be reviewing the support weapons, which are pretty interesting, and support's kind of like in between assault and recon, because they have a lot of choice, not as much choice as recons, but also more, at the same time, more choice than assault. So I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Please leave commentary, and we can discuss this further. Everyone take care. Bye-bye.